Come back only on 2. It's the phone call that could save a life, the moment when help is needed most. But what if the 911 dispatcher is tied up with calls that don't need immediate assistance? Unfortunately, it happens far too often. 2 Works For You reporter Travis Guillory has an exclusive look inside the Tulsa County Operations Center and the problems dispatchers face every day.
Barry Hill says there's a green van.
You were involved in the hit and run? Is that what it's saying?
Oxygen monitor, IV drips or medication.
Back, a down subject.
Does it give you any kind of zone number?
Can't say it's in red.
Okay, I can do that, okay? Stay on the line, all right?
If you've called 911 before in Tulsa, Debbie Acton may have been the voice on the other end of the phone.
Hello, this is 911. Do you have an emergency?
She's one of the handful of people who answers calls before redirecting you to the most appropriate division, all in the same room.
911, do you need police, fire, or medical? Just an old lady dialing numbers.
But a good chunk of Debbie's day consists of calls like this one.
We've got a handful of people like that call us, are our regulars, and so we kind of know how to kind of get to the point, figure out what they want, and move on.
Someone with a non-emergency.
That would be things like, what's the OU/OSU score? Or, I don't have a cell phone plan, but I have this cell phone that was given to me, and it will only dial 911. So could you please transfer me to Mazzio's Pizza?
Tulsa's 911 communications director, Terry O'Malley, says it takes an average of 3.5 minutes to process one call. So with a high volume of non-emergent calls, bogus or prank calls, which by the way constitute a criminal offense, and pocket dials, you can imagine how clogged the lines are and explain why you may not get a dispatcher right away.
Those calls that really shouldn't come to 911 are a problem. You're basically cutting in line for someone, in front of someone who has a real emergency when you don't have an emergency.
And if you accidentally dial 911, don't hang up.
I have to call her back and make sure she's okay, even though it was probably just a misdial.
We're gonna have to call you back if it's 911 and we see it's a hang-up call.
Backing up the lines even more.
We don't know if you were struggling with someone, if you were only partially able to get through to us and we need to send help.
If you don't answer when a dispatcher calls you back, police will be automatically dispatched to your location, a huge waste of resources. So don't waste anyone's time and be patient, especially with dispatchers. Tulsa has about 60 total employees, about a dozen in training, and about 24 vacancies.
Staffing is our biggest logistical issue. If we can get to full staffing, which would be 100 people hired, I think you would see people getting their calls answered by the national standard, which is being able to answer 90% of the calls during your busiest hour of the day within 10 seconds.
A goal O'Malley thinks is attainable. In the meantime, she hopes callers use good judgment and don't abuse one of the city's most valuable resources.
Does it look like a device?
The main thing is only call 911 when you have a life-threatening emergency where a crime is being committed as we speak, so something that is occurring or has just occurred.
Okay, sure, stay on the line.
In Tulsa, Travis Guillory, 2 Works For You.
Meanwhile, if you have a non-emergency but would still like to talk to a dispatcher for information or medical advice, you can call these numbers on our screen here. We've also put them at kjrh.com and on our free 2 Works For You app.